So this is a updated version of going over how to install mods onto Stardew Valley using the SMAPI modding tool. We're also going to go over essentially how to actually download a mod and put it in, and we're also going to go over how to essentially return your Stardew Valley folder to as close to vanilla as possible. I guess I'm going to kind of warn now that if you do any research into how to restore games to what is called quote-unquote vanilla, which for anyone that doesn't understand what that is, that's like brand new. You just downloaded it off of Steam and you haven't modded it at all. This is what's called like vanilla. With other games, it seems to be somewhat of a hassle and issues with cloud saves, which I'll kind of cover as we dig deeper into it. But I'm going to start this. This is brand new. Like I essentially tried to completely clear my Stardew Valley, having no mods, like nothing other than the way it was when I downloaded it for the very first time. So because I've had a couple of people ask questions and I've kind of gotten lost with them in terms of being able to help them out because I'm not really sure where they're getting stuck. But if you are having issues at any point, definitely leave a comment below with where in like timestamp wise in the video where you're having trouble, and I will do my best to help you. I'm pretty good about responding, and if anyone else is able to help, they'll certainly chime in, hopefully. So to begin, obviously we have Stardew Valley downloaded and installed, and we'll kind of just go over that. So this is my Steam library. I've got Stardew Valley here, and one way to just kind of, as touching base and knowing where we're starting from, you're going to click into the Stardew Valley. You want to right click, and we'll go down to properties, and we're going to locate files, and you want to browse your local files. Browsing your local files will bring up essentially your Stardew Valley folder that, in Steam. So other places there's a way to essentially get to this. You'll go through and find the Steam apps folder. Then you'll go through common, and then Stardew Valley, and then contents. And essentially this is like your Stardew Valley folder. So Mac OS. And this is kind of where we're going to end up dumping mods when that time comes. But this, from what I understand, is vanilla. Everything in this folder is how it, or as close as I could get it to be, from right when you download it from the very beginning. The only files that I'm not really 100% on are these files here, these mono files. And you'll see why when we kind of get started here in a second. Why I'm not sure if these are correct or not. And the only reason being is that we have to download something in order to get the SMAPI to work. That's actually called mono. So these files I'm not really sure, but when we go over how to essentially reset your Stardew Valley to vanilla-like, we will I'll show you how to do that, and the fact that these kind of got downloaded back in tells me that they're a part of the original file folder. So, all right, so now that we know kind of where that is and where to kind of work with that, we're going to start from scratch. So the first thing we're going to do is go to a website called Can I Mod, and it's kind of convenient to remember. And as you can kind of see, I've been here before. We're going to go to install SMAPI, and essentially this is their guide on how to install this, which is essentially a tool that launches the game with mods, which are downloaded separately, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we're going to scroll down to the Mac portion, and the first thing we're going to do, and again, I'm doing this all with you guys as if I had never done this at all. So just kind of follow along here. You can pause the video, do it, and so on and so forth. So we're going to click this first link and we're going to download the SMAPI. So here we are. And if you scroll down to the bottom here, there's a for developers version, and this is the one that we're going to be using. And Interestingly enough, I was actually, before this video, was using 1.8. So here we are. We're going to download 1.9. Okay, so it should pop into your downloads section here, which if you don't know where that is, I think there is a way. Again, if you can't find these things, using Spotlight is certainly an easy way to find everything. So what I usually like to do whenever I download something is actually pull it onto the desktop so I can easily find it. And if we look into this folder, we're going to see what's in it. So there's an install exe, there's an internal, which again, there's mono again. So if we kind of look into it, I think that, yeah, that maybe some of these are replacing folders that are in there, but perhaps not. This mod folder is actually where we're going to be inserting mods that will actually be run in the game. So this is going to be a location that we're going to use. I personally will make or keep this version of this folder here just so that I can see what got changed, if anything changes whenever we add mods. And this trainer mod here, I believe, is just a placeholder that, you know, I'm not sure if these actually do anything or not, but when I'm running the game, I don't see that they actually make any impacts on the game at all. But maybe this is just kind of like, again, a placeholder that shows, hey, this is where something goes. I haven't been able to figure that out yet. And we'll be using this install.exe thing here. And I would certainly advise reading the README text, and then it kind of just goes into another tutorial essentially on Mac. Open a terminal and run mono install.exe, and we'll get into that in a minute. So we're gonna need this here. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and close this, and we're gonna go back to the web page, and we're gonna go back. And so the other thing we need, so it says here, extract the zip file somewhere but not in your game folder. Open a terminal in the extracted folder and run mono install.exe. Here's how. Open the terminal app, which we'll go over. Type in mono, then space. Drag and drop the exe folder file onto the terminal window to paste its path. Instead of like having to like figure out the pathway of where it is, it's easier to just drag and drop it into the terminal, and then it'll just go from there. So again, we're going to need to do this second part here, which is installing mono. So we're going to go here to this link. And so this is essentially something that we need in order to be able to run the SMAPI. So we're going to go ahead and download it. And yeah, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out because we essentially don't need it anymore. And we're going to let that finish downloading. And there it is. Okay. So we'll click into this. All right. And continue. Okay, and continue, and continue. And agree, and yep, and continue, and install, and I'm going to type in a little password here. Okay, and install. All right, and we're back. So unfortunately, because I got a couple of text message notifications on my screen, I had to close out of it until I could do this part of the recording. But essentially, my window changed to showing the big green check that said installation complete, and I just closed out of that window, and now we're here back at the main desktop. So what we're going to do is we're just going to restart our computer. And again, the actual download process or the installation process took a little bit longer than I expected. So I just kind of walked away and came back and it was done. I think it took maybe like 15, 20 minutes maybe. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and restart our computer now. I'm going to stop the recording and I'll meet you on the other side. Right. So again, we're just going to go to the Apple and restart. All right, and we're back. So we just restarted our computer and we're back here at the desktop, and we're gonna keep going forward. So what we need to do now is if you go back to the can I mod, okay, here we go, canimod.com. Installing AP. So the next step is to open a terminal in the extracted folder and run mono install.exe, and essentially drag and drop that into the terminal window to do the pathway for the SMAPI. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go up to the spotlight, which is the magnifying glass in the top right corner of the gray bar of your screen, and we're going to type in terminal. Whoop. Okay, here we go. So, as per it says, type in mono space, and then we're going to go over here to the SMAPI folder, and we're going to grab that install.exe, and we're going to drop it right in there. And I'm going to hit enter on the keyboard. Okay, so then these are the options we're given. Install SMAPI, uninstall SMAPI. And so we're going to go ahead and type 1 and then enter. So there you go. All right. So according to this, it's done. And so then whenever you add in mods, this will actually like come up. And as you can tell, the trainer mod that we talked about earlier that I wasn't sure what it was, if it was a placeholder or whatnot, is actually here. So as you can see, it added this bundle, and I think every time whenever we load this up, it'll show like running game with, and then it'll say the number of mods that you actually have active. So now that we've got that done, going to go ahead and terminate this. Let's go ahead and actually download a mod. And again, as per when you look back at the Can I Mod website, they recommend that you get mods from this place, Nexus Mods. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go to Nexus Mods, and so here we are. This is kind of, I guess, the Stardew Valley landing page for any mods that have been created already, and there's tons. What I'm going to go ahead and do is get one that I am familiar with. So we're going to go for instant fishing. Okay, and no results. Great. Okay. Let's see. I think there's a way to get to... I'm sorry, bear with me. You can certainly skip ahead in the video. But I wanted to try and find... top files. Here we go. And let's go ahead and just... why not? We'll do the CBJ cheat menu. Or CJB cheat menu. Okay, we're going to go to Files, and it looks like this is the newest version. Continue with my download. Boop, there it goes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just exit out of all this stuff. And so then what we're going to do now, in order to add this mod to our Stardew Valley, is we're going to go back to Steam here. And we're going to essentially put, so if you open this and you see this mods folder, that's essentially where we're going to put our mod. Okay, so we're going to go back, click on Stardew Valley, go to Properties, go to Local Files, browse Local Files, and as you can see here, if we did this correctly, yay, there's a mod folder. Okay, so here we are. This is what we need. I'm going to minimize all this stuff. I'm going to close that. And so then we're going to take the CBJ Cheats menu and drag and drop it right there. Bammy. Okay, so there you go. And then that's how we do that. We can close this out, and if this is going to work correctly, which I'm thinking it will, we'll start Stardew Valley. And you can see here's a row, it's loading, it's loaded 2 mods. Starting game. Okay. And I did check my game to make sure that like mods beforehand that I had already on here were taken off. So and again, we'll kind of like go over things regarding all of this in a second, but I'm gonna go ahead and load in my game. So if I remember correctly, I think in order to like activate, in order to activate the mod menu for the CJB is P. Yep, and there it is. So I pressed P on the keyboard, and here's the CJB mods cheat menu, and it's got all kinds of things. So just kind of nice. This is like a good kind of like catch-22, or like, you know, essentially give all little cheat menu thing that kind of makes the game interesting if you've already played through it. So hit P again to exit out. Okay, and I'm going to hit escape, and I'm going ahead and close my game here. Okay, and the process completed. Okay, so that's essentially how to do that. And again, if you have any issues with any step of the process and you're trying to get help, just in the comment below, like leave a timestamp in terms of where in this video you're having issues. That way when I or others can go back and see like at what point in the video or what point in the process you're having issues. That way, you know, we can try different things, because I definitely want to help you and help, you know, you be able to enjoy the game the way that you would like to. And again, like helping you also helps myself learn. So now I'm going to show you how to essentially get rid of this. If you wanted to start over again and just clear these extra files from your Stardew Valley, what you would need to do. So we're going to go back into Steam. If you decide, okay, you know what, I want to just refresh my refresh it, get rid of any mods that I might have put in there, or let's say maybe you added something and it wasn't really compatible with your game and with other mods, and so it kind of glitched your game out. You're gonna want to go back to Steam. We're going to get back to our local files, and so then what I did is again vanilla eyes this whole thing. I essentially just took this entire folder and dragged it into the trash and deleted it. And then what you will do is this, verify integrity of game files. You'll click it, and it's going to go through, and it'll say one file. Oh, interesting. Something failed to like when I did it, it said like 776 files failed to validate and will be required. So this reacquired issue here is that essentially it will re-download all of those files and give you essentially the game back again in the way that it was. So just making sure that I didn't get rid of anything important. And again, this won't get rid of any of your game saves or anything like that. It's just going to replace the original files if for some reason something got deleted. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. And actually, you know what? I want to go back and see if it changed anything. Okay, those are all still there. Yep, and that's still there. Interesting. Okay. So that all looks exactly the same to me, at least. So maybe it was something small that got taken out. Not exactly sure, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and try and run the game just in case. Oops. Sorry about that. All right, let's see. Did it change to where we cannot use it? P. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so I'm no longer able to access the menu, the cheat menu. Interesting. Okay, well that answers that. So I'm gonna go ahead and exit the game. So it potentially just changed the way that it works. Let's see. Oh wait, the terminal is open. So let's go back to the terminal and let's see. Mono. Close out of this. Let's go back. Install exe and run. Let's try reinstalling it. Why not? Oh, there you go. Okay, so that's what it did. So by doing that, it essentially took away the SMAPI launcher. See, it says safely replacing game launcher. So that's what happened. And it added the mod back in. Okay. So then now, if we open Stardew Valley up again. Okay. 2 mods. Perfect. So then, yeah. So now it's free. So essentially that was, in a nutshell, kind of showing that, yes, when you do go back through and verify the files, that it will like clean it up essentially. So even just doing that kind of disabled the SMAPI, which was interesting. So yeah, and I'm sure if we go back into this, and I'll do it just I guess to prove a point, but essentially you could stop watching the video now if you wanted to, but I'm gonna go back in and just prove a point that the SMAPI should be working again. We're gonna, oh, no, not that. Okay, P. Perfect, see, there you go. So now it's working again. All right, so again, any questions with getting rid of this? And again, that essentially the same process to go through to delete the SMAPI. Same process. You would open terminal, type in mono space, and then that's why we're kind of keeping this SMAPI folder here, is so that we can just keep this easily or readily available. So drop that there, and then hit enter. Hit enter, and then you would just uninstall it. You would press 2. Press 2 and uninstall it. I'm gonna leave it on because I'm gonna leave it on. But again, so going back and talking about the vanilla status, your save, no matter what, is going to go into the cloud. So just hitting on that really quickly. As I was kind of playing around with this and trying to figure out if I could completely reset Stardew Valley to brand spanking new. And I guess essentially in a way you could by doing exactly what I said, like going through, opening up your local files, completely deleting them. And there's a way to actually get and delete the cloud, but I tried it and it didn't really seem to work for me, but I kind of also like halfway did it. I was just trying to, I was like, you know what, if it works is like in the most simplest way I can do this, then fine. If not, whatever, because you can actually just delete your save inside of Stardew Valley. So to me, it was like, it didn't really make that sense to maybe do it that way. But, again, I went through and by uninstalling SMAPI, deleting all of those files, and then re-verifying and have it replace everything would essentially get rid of anything that you wouldn't want there anyway. So if you, let's see, properties. So I'll just show you quickly. If you go to view and games list, so this cloud status here, because we have this kind of going already, at least I did, then it will automatically make your data save to the Steam cloud. So that save that I have for that character is always going to be there unless I were to do something to disrupt it, or to get rid of it. And unfortunately, Steam, at least to my knowledge right now, doesn't have a way to actually delete cloud saves. I'm not sure if that's something that's coming or not. But from what I understand, it's you have to do this weird turn off your Wi-Fi and log out of Steam and then log in and launch the game in an offline mode and go and then delete certain data files. But I tried to do it and wasn't successful. But for Stardew Valley, to start from scratch is going to be just deleting your character. So, in sense of doing that, it doesn't really make sense, I guess. But again, just uninstalling SMAPI, deleting all those files, having it re-verify, or uninstalling and reinstalling Stardew Valley would also be fine too. Library, which if you wanted to do, you could literally hit uninstall and it would completely uninstall it, and you could reinstall it from here. So yeah, that's that. Again, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, please leave them below, and I'll do my best to help. I try to reply to everyone's messages, even if they're positive. And again, I'll link this video in the prior video that I had, and I will leave the link to Can I Mod below, I guess. But everything you can find should be from that Can I Mod website, with all the links that you need to, and just kind of follow and click through. So again, we went from very beginning to very end. I try to keep it as simple and straightforward as possible. And yeah, so any questions, let me know. All right, thanks. Bye.